Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and welcome back to online classes of Iqra Faz by secondary schools. A project of Iqra education system. Dear students of class metric, as we are going through chapter number 16, poem King Bruce and the Spider, and I explained you this poem yesterday, and before that we did words with their English and Urdu meanings, and we have also covered questions and answers of this chapter. So today I will take you through a reference to context. We will be doing two reference to context here in the class, and I will assign you one RTC, it is reference to context number 3 as your home assignment from your English notes. But before we further go ahead with reference to context number 1, I would like to take you through an interesting segment as usual. And yes, that is, I'll ask you a riddle. The riddle is, what comes once in a minute, twice in moment, but never in 100 years? What comes once in a minute, twice in moment, but never in 100 years? वो क्या चीज़ है जो एक मिनट में, एक मर्तबा, एक लम्हे में, एक मोमेंट में 2 मर्तबा, जबकि 100 years में, 100 सालों में एक भी मर्तबा नहीं आती? What comes once in a minute, twice in moment, but never in 100 years? You may think about it. Meanwhile, we will go through reference to contexts number 1 and 2, and in the end of the video, I will answer this riddle to you people. Meanwhile, you may think about it. So here is the first stanza for our reference to context number 1. For he had been trying to do a great deed to make his people glad. He had tried and tried but couldn't succeed, so became quite sad. So in this stanza, there are 4 lines and there are normally 3 questions with reference to context. I am going to write down each of these 3 sentences or questions one by one, and we will answer it in discussion or with discussion with each other. So the question number 1 is, name the poem and the poet or poetess. Before you people start your work, let me tell you a couple of instructions how to do this work in your registers. You will open a new page after you have done your question answers of this chapter number 16. You will first of all draw 2 margin lines, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. You can see 2 margin lines are given here, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side, and then you will mention the dates, Islamic date and English date. You will mention both the dates on the top of your register page. You will draw 2 margin lines, one on the left hand side, one on the right hand side, each margin line of about half an inch. And then you will not give this heading, chapter number 16, poem King Bruce and the Spider, because you already have made the title page for this chapter. So you will directly start from this heading. In the first line you will give this heading, reference to context number 1. And then you will write these 4 lines, this whole stanza, and after this you will write down the first question, name the poem and the poet or poetess. Remember, my dear students, remember 2 things. Number 1, you people have to use the opposite color to me. If I am writing something with blue, you have to write with black. If I am writing something with black, you have to write it with blue. So be very much careful about this thing. Number 2, you have to write about 4 to 5 words in one line. No more than 5 words, no less than 4 words. You have to give proper space in between every 2 words so that your presentation becomes more elegant. Is that clear? So you will be doing 4 things when you start your work. Number 1, you will mention both the dates, English and Islamic. You will draw the margin lines, number 2. Number 3, you will write about 4 to 5 words in each line with proper space in between 2 words, every 2 words. And number 4, you have to write something which I am writing with blue, you have to write with black, and if I am writing something with black, you have to write with blue. Now we will go on to answering this first question. Remember that this reference to context carries about 6 marks in our examination paper, which means if there are 3 questions, so each question carries 2 marks. So the answer to each question should justify 2 marks, otherwise you will not be able to secure 2 marks for each answer. Okay, so here is the answer before you. The above lines have been taken from a poem, King Bruce and the Spider, our academic book, secondary stage English book 2. This poem was written by an English poetess, Eliza Cook. Now we will go through the second question, but before that I will tell you that you people have to skip one line there. After this question and answer, you will skip one line here and then you will start question number 2. But I am starting my question number 2 after erasing this question and answer. Okay, because I don't have much space on the board here. So I am erasing this question and answer and then I will write question number 2 here. But what you will do, you will skip one line here and then you will start question number 2 from here. Is that clear to you all? Question number 2 is, who does he stand for in these lines? These are 4 lines and we can see that for he had been trying to do a great deed to make his people glad. He had tried and tried but couldn't succeed, so he became quite sad. In these 4 lines, the poetess is using he. So now we have to say that what does he stand for in these lines? The answer to question number 2 is, this poem tells us a story about a king and a spider. The pronoun he represents King Robert Bruce of Scotland. You people may copy down these 4 lines stanza in question number 1 and question number 2. You may pause the video here, copy down these questions. Meanwhile, I will write down question number 3 on the board. Question number 3. What did he try for? In these lines, line number 3 says he had tried and tried but couldn't succeed. So what does it mean? That what did he try for? So the answer is he had tried and tried many times to defeat his enemies, but he failed every time. And in detail, King Robert Bruce of Scotland fought many battles in order to get freedom for his people, but he could not succeed and was thinking of giving up. So this is the proper answer to question number 3. And here we have completed our reference to context number 1. Now we will go through reference to context number 2. Reference to context number 2. Steadily, steadily, inch by inch, higher and higher he got, and a bold little run at the very last pinch put him into his native cot. So this is another stanza, 4 lines given here before you on the board, and we will do question answers with this reference to context number 2. As I am writing on the board, you may copy it from the board and write it down in your registers too meanwhile. Question number 1. How many attempts had the spider made before succeeding? The answer is, the spider had attempted 9 times to reach his cobweb, but he failed badly. Eventually, he bravely made another attempt and succeeded. Question number 2. What does native cot mean? Here a phrase is used in the 4th line of this stanza, native cot. Put him into his native cot. So what does native cot mean here? Native cot means place of birth or living. Normally it means place of birth or place of living. But here in these lines it means cobweb of the spider. The spider was trying to reach its native cot means it's cobweb. Question number 3. What is the message learnt in this poem? The answer is, the message learnt in this poem is that one should never lose hope in difficult situation. One should keep trying to get his aim and never be a victim of despair. Those who defy despair are always successful. This is the same answer as we did in question number 1. I have not changed the wordings so that it will be easier for you people to remember or learn or memorize question number 1 and this question in this reference to context number 2. I am home assigning you reference to context number 3. Your home assignment is do RTC number 3. RTC means reference to context number 3 of chapter number 16 from your English notes. You have been provided English notes from the management of your branches, so you have to go through RTC number 3 of chapter number 16 and do it in your registers. It's now time to go through the question I asked you at the beginning of this video. The question is, what comes once in a minute, twice in moment, but never in 100 years? And I'm going to tell you the answer to this riddle. Here you are. Letter M. Yes, M comes once in a minute, you can see, twice in moment, you can see, but never in 100 years. In 100 years, there is no M. I hope you enjoyed this riddle. You will enjoy more asking this riddle to your friends, family and relatives. We will meet again in the next video lecture with something new to study, something more to study. Till then, take very good care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.